Being good at sales and being good at leadership are just two totally different skill sets. And it's a problem because it's people that are good at sales that are the ones that get promoted into leadership, and then they struggle trying to manage a team. Napoleon Hill inspired me in the biggest way when he talks about every failure brings with it a seed of an equivalent advantage to if you hadn't have failed, if you actually got what you would have received, if you got what you were pushing for and had not failed. The failure brings a seed that if planted and nurtured, that seed can turn into a redwood of opportunity. And I found that to be true, and I've seen that over and over in my life. So I started knocking doors 20 years ago, and I found myself that the easy part was learning the skills. And the reality was that was also challenging, but compared to how hard it was to get my mind right and get myself to get out of the car and onto the doors day after day. I wanted to quit every day. My manager, Jared Taggart, sat me down on a curb, and he's like, listen, this was 2 weeks into sales and I had not made one sale. And I was the only one in the office who had not made a sale. And he's just like, listen, Ben, sales is not for everybody. And he's like, and there's no shame if this doesn't work out for you. And in that moment, I thought I was about to get fired from a straight commission job. Truth is, I quit that night. I quit mentally, and I was in Oceanside, California, and I went and ran on the Oceanside Pier. And I was bawling my eyes out, literally just like, I'm so lame. And my parents told me not to take this job. They're like, don't take that silly job. You have a comfy job working at Sports Chalet. I was making $7 an hour stringing tennis rackets. And I had my parents in the back of my mind. They're like, don't go do that. And I went and did it anyways, and I failed. And now I quit. Now what? I go home to them. And I just was bawling my eyes out, and I realized right then, I'm like, what am I running from? And turns out I was running from my fear. And the reality was, I was running from the people on the doors that were telling me no. And they were telling me that no started becoming personal, where I was worthless. No. And every new door for 2 weeks straight was, you're worthless. And so that was the narrative going on in my brain. While I'm running, I'm realizing I'm running from my fear. And I'm running from a false truth. They're not saying no to me. And it clicked in my brain right then. And so I unpacked my bags and I made a decision, cut off. The word decision comes from the Latin decidere, which means to cut off. And so I cut off, and I said, no, I'm not gonna quit. And I unpacked my bags, and that was the beginning. And then that next week I started making sales, and the rest was history. If the focus really is on trying to help that person get what they want, what I found is that there is so much need for salespeople to be able to hack their brains, because the world around them is going to tell them they cannot succeed. And so they have to hack their brains. And I learned firsthand how to do this. And I get so motivated. I feel like it's a calling in my life to give back. And so I just have this immense passion to pass on the experience that I gained at a tremendous price over 20 plus years of learning and trying and failing. And I've found some insights that are just too valuable not to share. If there's one challenge I can offer to you, of everything that I've learned over a lifetime, 20 years of building and leading sales teams, I would tell you to pluck the FUD. I would tell you the easy part is learning the skills. It's a minimum standard. You just need to get good at those. And you're gonna have a lot of competition that are good at the skills. The real challenge, the differentiator, is learning to guard your mind and take action despite inevitable fear. If you're an entrepreneur responsible to recruit, retain, and scale a high-performing sales team, go to my website, benward.com, to learn more about my Sales Leadership Masterclass.